Perfect. Thank-
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Industry Insights Worldwide. Today, we've got an amazing guest with us, Tommy. Hi, Tommy, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming along today, for sharing your views, your expertise, and this amazing story you have for us. So, do you want to tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
Yeah, I'm originally from New Jersey.
Also,
I got into the nightclub business at a very young age. I actually started throwing beach parties on the beaches of New Jersey actually at
oh,
13 years old, probably my first parties.
wow,
Then lived on my own when I was 16 years old, throwing underage house parties.
same as me.
Um, when house music wasn't cool before, when it wasn't called EDM, that's what I was into.
Yes.
Packed out houses and then got in a lot of trouble for doing that. Underage house parties, that's how I survived to pay the bills. Some crazy stories. Um, then I grew and I was like, hey, look, I think I can make a career out of this, you know?
Um,
So I started doing guest lists in some New York City clubs like Tunnel, Limelight, some legendary ones.
yeah,
Learned the ropes and then started promoting my own parties. Did my own first successful party in about like 96, 97 on a Wednesday night.
yeah.
Um, then over time, then I was like, wow, packed it out with like 1,500 people. I was like,
Well
I can
done.
do this, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Me and my team with a lot of hard work, then started running legendary clubs like Sound Factory, New York City. And then over time, over years, we got into like running almost every major club through New York, New Jersey, down to Miami, doing almost every major celebrity. And with my team's hard work, we, grew pretty much to the top over a
Well
15-year
done.
span.
That's impressive. Now, you obviously started building your career from a very young age with nothing at all. What first pulled you into the New Jersey and New York EDM scene? What was that?
Yeah, so what first pulled me into it, it was I loved music. So my dad took me to concerts all the time when I was young.
Yeah.
So that's, like tickets were cheaper, so that's what really got me into music, my father.
Okay.
My father passed away when I was younger, at a young age, like 12.
Yeah.
So when I was 16, I was living on my own. My mom remarried. It didn't work out the best for me. So at the time, I loved all different kinds of music, but house music was popular. And when I started throwing parties at houses I rented to pay for the houses, that was the popular music. So then I got into it, and then then I started going to New York City clubs like Tunnel, Limelight back then, and then I got a passion and just fell in love with the music, But it wasn't it just happened by random. It wasn't by like choice.
Yeah, you followed your heart and you followed your dreams. And I think that's really important to hear because, a lot of people are doing things that they shouldn't, or they don't have the skills, they're not passionate about it. So, how far has your passion got you to where you are today?
Um, Passion is definitely I think really got me where I was to get today.
Yeah.
When you grow, when you're a promoter in the industry,
Yeah.
there's a lot of challenging times. There's ups and downs, and it's and there's a lot of failures. Even people know one big story with me, but growing through the industry, I remember I got to like at a high level, running all the major parties in New York, New Jersey, and then I had a New Year's Eve night. It was called the End of the World. I named it. Okay, and for me, it did become the end of the world. It was at a Coliseum that I was going to do for about 15,000 people,
Yeah.
and the club lost its liquor license a week before
Oh, no.
my event. I lost, it was a terrible downtime. Lost a lot from that. Had to
Right.
bounce right back. So it's been the passion for music, the passion for the industry.
Yeah.
It really keeps you going, and that's definitely where I think I got my success from, just being really passionate about it.
I love to hear that as well. And for some of the people that don't understand what promoters do, they invest in someone performing, right? They put the money up front, and then you have to make that money back once the show's happened. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. You invest the money into the show, and you need
Yeah.
to make the money back after the show. For a lot of promoters, one show you lose, and you don't make it on past that.
Okay. So how did you get through all these ups and downs? Because obviously there's lots of highs, there's lots of lows, and it sounds like you've had loads of those. So what kept you going in those dark moments, those struggling times?
Yeah, I think you have to look back and see the highs when you
Yeah.
got the success,
Yeah.
when you had a huge event and it was awesome, and the fans were so happy, the artist was happy, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Then when you hit a tough time, it's much easier to pick yourself back up get up, and be like, you know what? Sometimes you're looking at the wall. Wow, where do I go from here? This
Yeah.
is rough. But you know what? Just get up, go work harder. And that's what I did. And thrive, pack out another venue, get back on your feet, and keep going. But it's definitely a challenge in an industry a lot of people don't see.
And a lot of failure is also part of success. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, right? If you don't fail, you don't learn. So you have to learn and you have to make mistakes to learn from them, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Failing is one of the best things you can do, and
Yeah.
most people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Um, you got to be smart and learn from your failures,
Yeah.
but you need to fail and fail and fail. Starting off in the industry, I failed so many times.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when I was outside a New York City club, I tried packing clubs out. I couldn't get anything going in the beginning.
Right.
And I was literally outside of a New York City club. I'm handing flyers out. I think it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm trying to invite people to a party.
Yeah. Get them in.
And then all of a sudden, I get smacked in the face by some steroid juice heads out of New Jersey, because
Oh,
that's how it is in New York City at that
yeah.
time. And I'm almost trying to like fight the people hitting me. And the one promoter comes down to me. He's like, "Look, what did you miss?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Look at all the beautiful crowd that just walked past, and you could have been talking to them."
Oh,
And so that's learned something. I learned something that day. The promoter's name was Louis Santana. He's like, "Listen, if you don't take no personally,
yeah.
and just keep getting up," he's like, "you can do
Put
big
your back.
things, kid."
Yeah.
So
I think that I've learned that as well. Don't take it personally, but it's also part of the game. It's also part of the process is to grow and to learn. Definitely.
you
Thanks for
gotta
sharing
fail
that.
to succeed.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. And also, the Bliss nightclub became known for one of the best sound systems in the world for 4 years in a row. What was your vision behind creating that kind of immersive audio experience? Because that's big now.
Yeah, yeah. So I was in the industry for like 15 years, and I'd done so many clubs at other people, parties at other people's clubs,
Yeah,
between New York, Jersey, Miami, and like people hear music, and like when you hear the loudest music, if you walk out and your ears hurt, the
yeah.
sound system's not good.
Yeah, I was
You
going to
know,
say that. I hate that when
some
my ears start ringing. That's awful.
yeah, some people think that's the best sound system. That means you got a bad sound system.
Yeah,
And music, the sound system is everything, I think, as you can appreciate, the vibe for the crowd, for the artist, no matter how good the artist is, you go put on a show and that sound system's bad, it's not going to be so good.
yeah,
DJ, forget about it. So I used to have to rent sound systems. I'd go into clubs where club owners would spend like $5, $10 million on a club.
wow.
And it'd be a brand new club, and
Yeah,
I'd be going there and putting a $10,000 rental in,
mhm,
that's for a sound system, literally in a brand new club. And like, why are you doing this? I just bought a sound system, like, because your sound system's terrible.
yeah, it's very,
So I really learned that over the years. Sound, lighting, it's everything.
yeah,
And
it is.
so when I opened up Bliss, I was fortunate enough, one of the directors of Sound Factory, Joe Lodi, had opened a sound company,
Yeah,
and he had a sound system called Turbo Sound.
okay.
And Turbo Sound was only put on at concerts at the time, stadiums, like a giant
Oh,
stadium at
yeah,
the time,
yeah.
with Prince, Bruce
That's
Springsteen
great.
were using it.
Yeah,
And it was experimental to put it into a club.
okay.
And I went with it, and we put a concert sound system into a nightclub. And I was pretty excited on that, on winning the best sound system the first time. I never thought that was going to happen. I didn't think I was going to beat Amsterdam, but I was pretty excited, especially
But
being
you
from New
promise.
Jersey.
Well done, you. And that's good for representing your own country as well at the same time. And also raising that, that quality of sound, but also bringing people into an atmosphere. They want to be part of something, they want to feel it, they want to be in it. And that's what you've kind of done, create your own little world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it right on the money. People want to feel it. They want to, it's the sound, it's the lighting. It's
Yeah,
so much that goes into that. And if you cut the corners on that, no matter how good the talent is, no matter how good the DJ is, it's never going to be that successful.
of
So
course.
that's one thing I never cut the corners on. I
Yeah,
always overspent. And like I said, even clubs that weren't mine had sound systems, brand new ones. I'm renting sound systems. I'm renting lighting to
okay.
make sure it's proper for the DJ, and for the crowd so they can enjoy it,
Yeah.
and
So
don't
it's
walk out with piercing
quality,
ears.
quality first, always, and foremost is the quality of everything that you're doing, right? That's what's really got you to where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot that goes into putting on events, putting on shows, putting on concerts.
Yeah.
And it's the quality from sound, lighting, train security, and putting the money into the right marketing, creativity, create creative theme parties, events, and doing it right. Never half-assing it, doing it right, and really looking at what the fans really going to enjoy.
Yeah,
What creativity can you make this different? And is this going to be great for the artist? Is this going to be great for the DJ? Looking at the big picture, not just yourself. I think that's something me and my team did really well over the years, especially like in creative theme parties to get to the level we got to.
certainly have. I think you've inspired the whole musical world, the whole musical community across the world, because they're trying to do that now. So you was way ahead of them. So, being an innovator, that's not always easy. Now, you've spoken about facing serious resistance in the industry, including attempts to pressure your work, the venues you worked at, and how did you navigate those challenges while protecting your own creative vision?
Yeah, so you would have a lot of pressure all the time. You'd have club owners. They would come in there and be like, "We need you to have the DJ change the music so we can get more people at the bar right now."
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and I would just say absolutely no.
mhm,
I was like, "Look, your club had 50 people in it. I have 4,000 people in it now.
yeah,
So if you want me to tell the DJ to change the music, we'll move to the next club and you can be empty and we'll pack out the club down the street." So I really stuck for it. Like, in the beginning, I ain't gonna lie, it was hard
yeah.
because when you're
It's
starting off, you got kicked out
really
of a couple venues like that. That's for sure. Because you're dealing with rich mafia club owners that don't really care what you have to say.
yeah,
But after I got bigger and my reputation got good enough, fortunate enough,
yeah,
that pushback I could have over these owners of these venues, um, say, look, I know what I'm doing. Sit back and collect your money.
yeah.
Um,
Give me,
and it
let me.
worked out well.
Yeah, that sounds good actually. And what you're saying is you know what your talent is, you know what your expertise is in. Just give me a break and let me do what I'm good at, and I can prove you that I'm right.
Absolutely. I was like, look at my track record. My parties last many years. So
Yeah,
you can either make the money with it or we can move on.
yeah.
But I'm not going to tell the artist or the DJ to change their song or
Now,
their record.
marketing's been really core to this as well. Like it sounds like you've known your markets, you know how to market correctly. How do you think that how important that is today, especially for artists that are up and coming new talent to market in the right places? And how did you market?
So when I started off in the industry, I had nothing. I had no money.
Yeah,
So I started off face-to-face marketing. I couldn't even afford flyers,
mhm,
for the events.
yeah,
So we literally went to the college campuses and we printed out like 10,000 print of, paper. I guess I say I borrowed it from the college. Um,
yeah,
and we would go, then hit every single car in every single parking lot in college campuses.
yeah,
Uh, then we'd be going outside every single nightclub, every single gym, every tennis salon, through malls, heavy face-to-face interaction starting off. And, some people at the time, I had two employees or just me and one,
yeah.
and people saw our stuff everywhere. They thought we had a team of 50 employees with this nice office, and this was just me
Beautiful.
living in a little den, really surviving.
Yeah,
That's how I started off. But
yeah,
I heavily believed into that face-to-face interaction. That's something I carried over to 15 years. It transformed over time when MySpace was just starting off.
yeah. I was on my space.
I'd done a lot of events with like MTV, like Steve-O Jackass, like out in Cancun. So I met a lot of those guys and I got involved with MySpace and I started doing all the MySpace events for them. After my first two successful ones throughout the East Coast exclusively, which was pretty cool. So you transform to the market and you got to hit it every different way, every different angle, and look what's going to work best for the crowd, and that's going to bring them in.
And it's also got to be relatable, but you've got to be personal. And I think a lot of people forget about word of mouth these days. How important do you think word of mouth was for you in marketing?
My whole business was
Yeah,
created on word of mouth.
yeah.
I
So
didn't, the radio for me was worthless.
yeah,
Except like I spent money on it because when I was a kid and you'd hear like these, like somebody presenting a party and like, I was like, wow, I want to hear Tommy D on the radio. Tommy D Primetime presents.
don't
So I
have
spent the money for that. But
yeah,
besides that, the radio money was in my industry was just a waste of money.
yeah,
It was really face to face, um, getting really good mailing list data. Your data is so
yeah.
key.
Really important.
Um, and then your online marketing, but the personal marketing I think is just so key, and that's definitely what I really focused on through my whole career, and I think it separated us.
I love that, Tommy. And it also sounds like you built a solid foundation to work off of. You didn't just rush it. You knew what you was doing. You knew what you wanted to do, and you followed that vision.
Yeah, I started with it, failed many times, learned like, hey, did this wrong, definitely did that wrong. Gotta Let's try it this way. Throw
Yeah,
spaghetti at the wall, see if it sticks. That's how
yeah,
it is when you're like
yeah.
an entrepreneur trying to figure it out.
Get
Then
it.
when it starts working, why don't break it? And just it's just that putting a lot of work in. It's the when you do face-to-face marketing like that. I remember with Sound Factory. I don't know if you heard of that, but it was a legendary club I ran out in New York City with Jonathan Peters, famous owner Richard Grant. He was awesome, but he was opening a level four. I came a fourth level. I came up with an idea. It was like, let's get water bottles
Yeah,
and let's have girls hand these out in bikinis through all the beaches, through New Jersey,
yeah,
New York, even down to Miami for the music conference.
yeah.
Have guys carrying them, handed out called level four. That's going to be our whole promotion, and we'll pack out Sound Factory with just that. We
That's,
did that for months,
yeah.
and level four opened up. We didn't even need to spend another dollar, didn't even need to hire another person, and it packed out the place just on something being different.
That's a great marketing tool. And I love that. You've been innovative, but you're also doing something that people want, people need, and they're going to talk about. I think that's great. Tick, tick, tick. Well done. Now, you also think that, people coming into the industry, they do have misunderstandings about the business side of nightlife and live electronic music culture. What do you think that main misunderstanding is, especially today, because it's changed a lot?
Yeah, so I would say even you take it from back in the day and then even today,
Yeah.
one thing, it's not easy.
No, these days.
People look at you, they see you back in the day, they see you there with Tiesto, Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, Kardashians. They're like, yeah, this is awesome. I wanna run this stuff. Um, they don't realize
The hard
the 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you want to run five parties a night, 5,000 people, 5 nights a week, no matter how good your team is, you're not sleeping, and there's no such thing as a vacation.
Yeah,
I'd be in Aruba, my phone's on a vacation. I'm on the phone 70% of the time. Made it harder in some of my relationships, you could say. But so I would say to anyone like, look, it is not even back then when there was more independent scene, there was a better chance for independence than there is today, obviously.
yeah,
Um, it takes a real lot of hard work. You have to be really resilient. And what you see when the people are at the top, or even the artists that get to the top, they all work their ass off for it and deserve it.
yeah.
It's not something that's spoon-fed to you.
No, and a lot of people don't realize, they only see the limelight. They don't see what goes on behind the scenes. What kind of things do you think people need to realize for people like yourself and artists as well that are doing really well? What hard work goes into that, and what kind of balances you have to, like, sacrifices and also your own life balance you have to make?
Well, you got to sacrifice your life. This is
Yeah,
this is a 7 day a week job,
yeah,
and there's no set hours,
yeah,
there's no set time, and that's number one.
yeah,
You got to be fully committed in it.
yeah,
Second part is, just there's so much that goes into marketing, um, strategies, how to execute the strategies, getting it done. When it's failing, fixing it.
yeah.
That's a full-time job, 7 days a week and alone.
Yes,
But you got to be, if you're going to be the head of it, you got to be your vision and you got to work with your team to create it.
yes,
Putting theme parties, events on. We used to put crazy theme parties on. The time spent to put those on, it's not just the money. The time to make this exciting, make it a great fan experience, make it amazing for the DJ, make it amazing for the artist.
yeah,
It's so much time. And the time you have to be willing to put so much time in, so much you have to be willing to invest a lot of money. You make money, you got to put all the money you make back in to your
yes.
next event.
That's really important.
Um,
Yeah,
so you gotta be willing to do that, and and there's a lot of meetings, you gotta deal with a lot of crazy people. You got booking agents, um, some of them friendly, some not. You
yeah,
gotta deal with them around the clock, you
yeah,
know. You can't deny those phone calls. The club owners, you're the club owner says, come meet me in New York City at 1 o'clock. You're in New Jersey,
got to be
you're
there.
flying.
Yeah,
Nobody waits for you. You got to make it happen, and it's a challenge, you know what I mean? It's a challenge across the board. You got to manage so many different things at the same time. You got to,
Yeah.
besides all that, you got to make sure the air conditioning's great in the club, you know? You got to
Yeah.
make sure the lighting's set. You need to make sure the sound check's good. You got
Yeah.
to make sure the artist is getting picked up at the right time, perfectly taken care of.
Yeah.
One of the things that helped me out, a little secret when I first got into the industry,
Okay.
with bigger celebrities, I used to go to the airports and I would literally just like uh meet the artist. I'd never say who I was, and
Yeah.
then literally like follow them to their hotel when they were in the limos, when limos were cool.
Yeah.
And just get them whatever they needed. They didn't even, and they hadn't met me face to face. They had no clue I was running the party. They thought I
Right.
was the guy just getting them their alcohol and, cigarettes or whatever they
Like a
needed.
brother. Yeah.
Help build that relationship. You got to build relationships. And, it takes a lot of time building relationships and getting trust.
It does. It's very personal. It's a very relationship built business. And I think that's really important what you touched there. Thanks for sharing that with us. How important is that networking and that personality that you have to connect personally got you to where you are as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think building relationships is one of the biggest things that got me to where I was
Yeah.
because there's two different things though. You can build a relationship, but you also have to back up what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. And build trust.
If build trust, and
Yeah.
you have to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Look, when you're dealing with agents, you're dealing with big talent, big celebrities. Nobody's going to trust you with giving you Kim Kardashian, Charlie Sheen at the time back in the day when he was like number one celebrity,
Yeah.
unless you take care of all their artists. You
Okay.
take care of all their DJs, the talent agencies.
Yeah.
You do the right thing. You make sure they get paid. You make sure they have the proper hotels. You make sure they have the right sound. They have the right lighting. They have the right transportation. Everything on point.
Yeah.
And so across the board, same with the club owners,
Yeah.
the relationships, and then the relationships goes right to the fans,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
The fans, I think that's a big misconception.
Yeah.
People look at, your relationship with the fan is if you tell the fans you're going to put this type of event on,
It's key.
you better put that type of event on.
Yeah.
You say I'm putting this crazy theme party we're doing, and we're gonna make it a beach party and make the whole thing a beach and drop a pool inside of a club.
Without the
Um,
there is no
you
party.
got to do it right. I
Yeah.
did it many times. And then you know what? The fans, you're building the trust with the fans too. Then the fans know, like my company was Tommy D. They're like, all right, wow, Tommy D's putting a theme party on. I got to the point over
No.
after that trust was built with the fans, when I was in putting a theme party on once a month at
Yeah.
any different club, anywhere it was, the club was fully sold out because
Brilliant.
they knew that they trusted that this place was going to be so decked out and the place was going to be so crazy,
Hmm.
um, that it then sold itself. But that was trust from the fans that I worked hard for too. So it goes trust and relationships everywhere. The whole business is building relationships.
It
It
sounds like
really is.
great reputation for yourself, but also, do you not think a lot of the time these days we don't often talk about the fans? We're so focused on the music industry and what needs to change in that that the fans often get forgotten about, So how do you think we can change that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I think that's one of the thing right now that things that no one does not speak about the fans.
Yeah,
It's we talk about the artists, we talk about the independent promoters. I do,
yes, of
we
course.
talk about competition, but the fans, there's no voice really for the fans.
Yeah,
Where's
exactly.
an organization really that's out there for the fans that's
Right.
saying like, look, we don't like the fans don't like dynamic ticketing.
Hmm.
They don't want to be sitting on a queue paying
Yeah,
$50 and going to $1,000,
right. Yeah.
There's no really fan organization.
Mm.
Something I'm looking into actually doing. But I feel like there is not a voice exactly you said for the fans, for what they care about, what they want. And I feel like the fans these days are just told you take a concert this way, you take a club this way, you take a show this way, and not asking them. Like I back in the day, I used to ask their opinions all the time, and I had my team do the same thing.
You
What do
really,
you guys want?
you
What do
really,
you got? Who do you want? What type of creativity do you want? What can we improve upon for you? Because at the end of the day, there is no business without the fans.
absolutely
The
right.
fans are the whole business for the artists, the promoters, the big companies, the stadiums. It's
Yeah.
all the fans. And the fans should be the ones that are, we should care and listen to the voices of the fans more than anybody else's.
Well, I hope that
There's
changes
no-
too.
there's nobody else without the fans.
Exactly. There's no ecosystem without the fans. I love that. And also I hope something changes there. Now you talked about your Meadowlands festival story, and that's become a major part of your advocacy. Can you walk us through what happened there and why it became such a defining moment for you?
Yeah, so I had we talked about my past a little, and I over 15 years I'd got to the top in the industry that I could get to,
Yeah,
and I saw that electronic dance music was going mainstream. What it was
yeah,
called house music. We're back in 2010, and I then signed a 10-year deal with the State Fair Meadowlands, as you said, with the largest state fair in the home Meadowlands. For anybody not listening, any listeners don't know, it's home to the Jets and Giants. It was a new $2 billion stadium. I signed a 10-year festival deal to put on all events, all festivals. And my start off was EDM because that was my life. I was a
yeah,
pioneer of it. And we were looking at put it doing over 100,000 people for the first EDM festival. Would have been the largest on the East Coast. And the state fair I partnered with had like hundreds of rides. It was a turnkey operation.
yeah,
Um, and I had everything in place. And then, as most people know, listening, or if the listeners don't know, Company Live Nation Entertainment had found out about it,
yeah.
um, and came in and wiped out the festival and wiped out my career in a click of a button.
That's what you call the corporate sometimes. I'm really sorry to hear that because you're a good person, you're independent, you've been doing this from day dot, and it's just you and a little team of people, but you've done amazing. So never let, these big giants come and crush you because you're way better than that anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a the need more competition these days.
Exactly. Competition is healthy. You don't need to kill it. And I think sometimes people look at everyone that's different as a threat. Actually, that's innovation, that's change. There's no need to stamp that out. That's actually healthy, isn't it?
It's so healthy, and here in the U.S., you see what's going on in the UK.
Yeah, same.
Um, you
Yeah,
know, just came out climate of fear, and many other countries. People are talking about the world, and around the world, and they're concerned. Fans, independent promoters, they create the scene for the artists.
yeah,
Without this, you got these bigger tier artists right now,
yeah.
But when, some of them get older, when they're not
But we're
here
cutting it
anymore,
up now, though.
what
Yeah, they're
happens
not
to the
growing.
next scene? Because these independent promoters, like not just me, but many across the whole world that take all these risks, make all the creativity, we break the artists.
Yeah,
And who's going to break these artists? Who's going to make these artists, And competition is so good. It makes a better scene. And we talk about fans. Who it benefits most is the fans.
absolutely.
The fans get to choose. How nice is it if you can choose between an artist, if you can go to three different stadiums or three different promoters, if
Yeah,
you can pick which promoter to go to,
yeah,
who spends more money on the sound, more on lighting, or has safer events, or has better themed out stuff, where it's more exciting.
yeah. And
Um,
represents those communities that are not often served, right? Also,
Absolutely represent those communities that aren't often served. Um, and it's just it's something that's getting almost at an independence at close to an extinction level event.
yeah,
And it's terrible for artists, it's terrible for the music industry, and it's definitely for the fans, it is definitely terrible too, because those
true.
local nightclubs, they create those those artists didn't just grow out of a tree.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So, what would you like to see change most in live music and festival ecosystems, moving forward?
I think what I'd like to see change most is for more competition to be allowed to operate
Yeah,
without one big company.
100%.
Um, there's enough money
Yeah,
to be made across in this industry. There's even the bigger companies, they can make way more money.
they bring you
Live
in.
Nation can make way more money
Yeah,
if they actually let the independent promoters thrive and didn't buy every one of them,
yeah,
because it's such a big industry and it's still growing. But
absolutely.
when you're trying to squeeze every dollar from everywhere, at some point in time it's going to catch up to
Dries
you.
up.
But
It turn into a desert. It all dries up because they're just sucking up all the water and there's no water left for everyone else, really.
yeah, absolutely. And these independent promoters,
Mm.
they also really help in so many different areas in packing out these venues,
Yes, and you're on the
packing out
ground.
these shows.
You're
Like
out there.
we look at the biggest artist shows and we're like, all right, sold out. We look at the hugest artists, Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, all these ones sold out, can't get tickets, this. But there's the mid-level ones, a lot of those shows, these artists are struggling.
Yes,
And if there was promoters, independent ones on the ground that are not in a corporate control,
Yeah.
and they're putting creative stuff behind it and really working grassroots like we were talking about,
Yeah.
these shows would get packed out, you know? So it's without them, I think it's a bad future.
It's a bad future. It does look a bit bleak, but hopefully let's stay hopeful, let's stay positive, and we're going to keep going regardless of what they say. Keep doing the amazing work you do, and just keep bringing it a lot, keep keeping the music system alive, because I think we need people like you, Tommy. Honestly, we're losing great talent if we don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not me, but many others. And
Yeah.
the independents, they got to keep pushing forward, keep fighting, don't give up. And
Yeah.
same with the artists, independent artists, keep
Amazing.
pushing forward, believe in your dreams,
Yes.
believe in your passion. And if you're willing to put it all in, and again, it's a struggle.
Lovely advice.
And I always like to say that because I always go back to people just like, hey, I want your job. You're just
Yeah.
chilling with every celebrity.
Yeah, but they
Um,
don't
it's
realize.
hard.
Yeah, of course. So
And
obviously,
you gotta be willing to put a lot of sacrifice. You gotta sacrifice
absolutely
time with your family. You gotta
everything.
sacrifice money,
Yeah,
and you gotta really, if you want to do it,
go
you
for
can
it.
do it. You can achieve your goals.
Great advice. And what's the biggest lesson you've learned along the way? Obviously, you've done so much. You've been in the game for so long. What's the biggest lesson you would learn? Or you've
I'd say the biggest lesson I learned is when starting off and you said about some of those failures. I was lucky enough to have failures early on starting off.
yeah,
I
that's
was
important.
lucky enough to sit there at a club and people didn't go out to even 11:45 at night. I was lucky enough to sit there stressing in a 3,000 person event and we only got 50 people.
Okay.
I was so lucky and blessed to have that happen to me
Yeah.
because you learn how to fix it, you learn how to pack it out, but then you learn there's gonna be failures.
And how to make the
And
vibe work.
then you're and then you're able to get back up.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest lesson is just you're gonna get knocked out by Mike Tyson if you want to grow in this industry
Yeah.
100 times.
Yeah.
Will you get back up? And
Absolutely.
if your answer is no, don't get into the industry.
Yeah. I'm learning that the hard way, but there's no stopping me. I'm like a steam train, just going to
I
keep going
love it.
up, down, round and round. But we keep going. Thank you so much, Tommy. This has been such a great interview. I've really enjoyed what you brought to the table, actually, and your expertise. And I'm really sorry to hear some of the, negatives that you've had to experience. You're such a great guy. If the listeners want to connect with you, how can they do so?
Yeah, Tommy D, juiceentertainment.com. And then my X account, Tommy D Prime Tim
Yeah.
1. My company was Prime Time, but that was gone. Um, And yeah, absolutely. It's great speaking with you. And just if you got a passion, believe in it and just keep going. If you don't quit, and
Um,
there'll be tough times, but if you don't quit, you can still succeed.
I got my faith and I keep moving forwards and I believe in what I'm doing and I know I'm doing good things. So that always helps too, right?
Absolutely. If you believe you're doing the right thing,
Yeah.
you know what? There's nothing that can stop you if
Thank
you're
you.
willing.
Thank you. I
And
really appreciate
with yourself, very great luck with I see what you're doing. Super
it.
impressive, and I wish you the
Yeah.
best with that too. And
Yeah.
super impressive.
Thank you very, very much. And I just want to say good luck with all the stuff you've got going on, all the legal battles. I hope you get what you deserve. It's not right. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much for your time and everybody listening.
Thank you. Take care.